its heroes in its most popular sport, limping around and frustrated at the end of their lives. This is a great game, and I'm here hopefully to encourage owners to keep making it a great game from future generations.
Reggie, you're an eloquent spokesperson, and the pictures of your disfigured knees and legs are disquieting. I mean, we've talked about this. You've been a guest on this program before. Your case is an eloquent one, and there is a reason that you're visually out there on the forefront of this issue. On the other side, the league made sure that we saw today a video produced by an outside advocacy group that kind of circles in on Marco Rivera, making him basically the poster child of what you could easily say would be, from the league side, would be abuse of the system, with $20 million in lifetime income through the NFL, projected possible $10 million in lifetime benefits from the NFL benefits. So, Bob Corker, my question to you is, who is more typical of the player in the pool here looking for benefits? Is it Reggie, or is it someone portrayed as Marco Rivera?
Reggie's not the typical case. What we're seeing from the out-of-state players...
Well, help me here. Typify the so-called typical case, and how many would you consider to be abusive filings?
The abusive filings probably exist in the range of about 90%, Bob.
90?
And I base that 90%...
No, come on.
Let me explain why before we get to the reaction. I base that 90%
Let him talk, Reg.
because, if I may finish, because more than 90% of these California claims from out-of-state players are not for the purpose of obtaining medical coverage. They are settling their medical coverage that might otherwise be available to them in California, and as a result are walking away not with medical coverage from California, but with a larger settlement. Now, if this was really about medical care, don't you think they'd be going to California and keeping their medical care? It's not about medical care.
Lester, I saw you
the
shaking your head.
safety net is in place for the players to have medical care both through the collective bargaining process and in the home state workers' comp jurisdictions where they played and where they worked and where they are entitled to lifetime, no deductible medical care for their workplace injuries.
Lester.
That's why the abuse, this is being used as a second and third revenue source, it's frankly double and triple dipping.
All right, Lester.
It's hard to even figure out a place to start after that polemic from the lawyer in Cincinnati. The number of players who take lump sum settlements instead of medical care are doing that for their own reasons. It's their choice to make. It's part of the legal system of California. There is absolutely no judgment to be made about those players, much less the patronizing judgment that this lawyer is making about these players. There are plenty of players in these California cases who have legitimate claims. They far outnumber those who have abusive claims. Any system like this is going to have some abuse. It happens in Social Security, it happens in Medicare, it happens in here. Believe me, the owners are well able to defend themselves against abusive claims without changing the law and without dismantling the safety net that Mr. Corker has described.
Let me bring in Andrew Brandt. Go ahead, Andrew.
Real quickly, Bob, the one thing I think people may not understand about workers' comp, if it's a factory worker or something like that, if he gets hurt, if he loses a finger, he's obviously going to get paid through workers' comp. Question is, how long does he get paid by his job? In the NFL, you can't cut a player who's hurt. So obviously, if a guy's making $1 million, he gets hurt halfway through the season, he goes on IR, we would pay him for the rest of that season, so he's still making $500,000, and then he would file for workers' comp. And then we talk about these abusive where there's triple dipping. So this is what the owners have problems with, not only double dipping, but triple dipping. And again, the question is, are there abuses, real claims? What's the percentage of each?
Andrew, when guys are cut loose, in your experience, how educated are they at that moment in what is available to them? Because one of the questions is, there's really no, the way the law currently reads in California, in my understanding, not a statute of limitations. Other states, you got to file quickly. How educated are players when they leave the league as to what's available to them in this regard?
It's hard to generalize, but I know with the Packers, once they were released from the team, they were referred to the work comp attorney in Milwaukee and Wisconsin to file there. As to other avenues that they could pursue, that's where the union should come in, that's where their agent should come in. They should make them aware of all these benefit plans that the league has, now improved with the new CBA. Hopefully they're getting that information right away upon release.
Reggie?
Well, I really have to go back to the really libelous statement about 90% of the cases in California being cases of abuses. I mean, even to try to bring that kind of math to a discussion says that someone has discounted fairness. Certainly, we are all committed to ensuring that only justice is being done. No one is trying to promote abuses, but there is fairness in the responsibility of a team like the Cincinnati Bengals that has made billions of dollars and will continue to make billions of dollars off of the loyalty of their fans, that the team should be just as loyal to the players that have put their body in harm's way for their behalf. And no one is asking the general public to pay our bills. All I'm looking forward to is to continue the fight that I have been fighting, that is to keep my leg, so that I can say I played the game for the love of it without putting my leg as the booby prize in the pursuit of that dream.
Bob Corker, this passed the California State Assembly 61-4. You don't have to be a political scientist to figure it out that if anything approximating this, this is going to be a walk through the state Senate. Is that pretty well anticipated from the league side that this law will become in effect and that this so-called loophole will close?
Well, you don't want to take anything for granted, Bob. There's still a lot of discussion to be had on these issues in the Senate, and I don't want to predict what that process is going to look like. But the important point here is that these issues have been discussed in California for the better part of 18 months now, almost without exception.
Why are the Cincinnati Bengals not talking to me? Why do we need a forum for the Cincinnati Bengals to do the right thing? Or any team that has had a player play for them do the right thing?
Gentlemen, I wish we had more time because we have enough emotion and facts on both sides to continue. Lester Munson, Bob Corker, Andrew Brandt, Reggie Williams. Gentlemen all, thank you. As we said, it's state Senate action time now in California. Continue the conversation at our Facebook page. Follow me on Twitter. Download our podcast. We'll be back.